She doesn't tell me anything ahead of time, so I honestly don't even know what Timeless Biotech does.
Yeah, we like to keep him in suspense, so he asks all
I,
the best
I am
questions.
in the dark until the microphones come on.
You know, that sounds a lot like what women usually expect when they go into menopause is they're in the dark until it's actually happening. So
This is
Yeah,
true.
there you go.
I think
That
a
is
lot
very
of
true.
women are like
I
the
didn't know I
suspense.
was a metaphor for menopause.
You
That's
are now.
wonderful.
Yeah,
You are
so
now.
yeah, that whether that was intentional or not, that's honestly kind of how it works, and that's what we're trying to change. So women shouldn't have to guess. Women should know what's coming in advance. We really consider ourselves a longevity company, like menopause management. And if people are open to it, menopause delay is actually really closely tied to female health span. There's so many chronic illnesses and preventable illnesses that just really skyrocket in risk when you go through that transition. So when you focus on optimizing female health, optimizing female longevity, health span, you can't ignore menopause. You have to focus on that phase. You have to know when it's coming so that you can be ready for management. You can be ready to manage it because currently it takes a lot of time for you to gain access to that diagnosis and prediction. And
Yes, it
you
does.
have to, yeah, and you have to know when it's coming. You have to know when
Mhm.
it's coming in order to do that. So that's what led to the birth of Timeless Biotech, which is all about female longevity. We were the home to the first ever time to menopause predicting algorithm. So we have prototyped and have a patent pending out on menotime. So it just requires one blood test and you can get your predicted time to menopause. And we found that women are really excited for this tool and it can help them eventually gain access to adequate care and eventually and live longer, healthier.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I wish I
And
had it.
so I have been learning a lot about menopause since this podcast started.
Yes.
Um,
He's gonna be the
how does
menopause
this
king.
does this help with perimenopause? Does
Yeah.
it predict that as well and like let you know like when that's going to end and you're going to full on go into full on menopause from there?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, and that's a very clinically meaningful question because the advice for women is to look out for those symptoms of perimenopause, and that's when they should be connecting to treatment. So I that's the next step in our tool is to integrate that time to perimenopause prediction as well. And also, when we give women this predicted time to menopause, we can tell them what symptoms to look out for so that they know when they're getting these symptoms within a few years of their expected time to menopause, what to do, how to bring these results into their provider so that they can advocate for themselves, and hopefully get connected to a diagnosis and, if they want, a prescription sooner.
A
So
kind
you
of
can use it
correct statement.
before perimenopause. You can
Even
use it
before.
up to 15 years before.
Oh,
So yes, so you can use it well before.
wow.
And if you're in perimenopause, you probably have already started to interact with lots of these materials and that education surrounding it, like what symptoms to look out for, like how to connect to treatment and many things like that. But lots of times when women already start symptoms, you probably know like the learning is happening at the same time as when they should be treating. So that's
Hmm.
why we want to get women to educated about these things sooner.
So it really is like you want to get women on this when they're 30 so that they can see when perimenopause is actually going to kick in for them
Yeah,
and
I'm in my
plan
early
accordingly.
20s. I'm waiting for us to extend that prediction range.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, 15 years, it's early 20s, you're not worrying about it yet. But once you hit 30, you can jump in on that, right?
Yeah, that's wild. I'm actually really surprised.
It's good that there are so many options, but that also is why, like, and I'm sure you agree with this too, I don't like the idea of being like pro HRT or anti HRT. Like,
Hmm.
that's one of the first questions I get. They're like, you know, the research, are you pro HRT or anti HRT? And I'm like, I would never advise someone who wouldn't benefit from it to take it, right?
Hmm.
It's a very nuanced question. And even though I do think that there's a lot more fear surrounding hormones than there should be, and a lot of misinformation surrounding it that, like most of us have concluded, even the people who are considered anti-HRT typically would never say that there's no situation where a woman should take it. So I think one thing to explore more thoroughly is every individual case scenario and what are the subjective factors that are leading to doctors feeling uncomfortable prescribing it, because that's where you have an overwhelming amount of women who want treatment but don't get access to it because doctors are just not comfortable giving it to them. The reason we have a lot of content on PCOS on our website is because we're treating women, or we're not treating directly, but we're predicting time to menopause for women. Some of our women have PCOS, some of our women don't have PCOS. Some of the women take contraception, some of them don't. These are all intersections. They don't function in isolation. A woman doesn't have PCOS and then a different woman goes into menopause. That woman who lived with PCOS is that same woman who goes through perimenopause and menopause. What does perimenopause look like for a woman going through PCOS? These are the type of conversations we need to start having. This is like one of our core missions at Timeless, is to elevate that standard of what a general amount of women's health information looks like. So talking about if you have PCOS and you have endometriosis, and you take our test, what are some specific interventions you can do that are unique to your specific conditions in your scenario? So we're going to be partnering with, we currently have Dr. Sangeeta Bhatti, who's on our advisory board. She's an OBGYN, and she's worked with so many women who are premenopausal, perimenopausal, and postmenopausal, and specifically helped them with managing their hormones and balancing that personalized to them. So working with people like that, who have worked with thousands of different women and helped to optimize their specific health, like their hormone health, so that they go through these transitions more smoothly and they prevent preventable illnesses quite clearly. So we're going to be partnering with more practitioners like that, more coaches in that area, so that when women receive this prediction, it's not like a countdown, but instead like you have this many years to, get ahead of the game and give them like personalized recommendations based on their data of how they can prepare for this transition. And if they're interested in it, do certain things that could potentially delay that transition.
Mhm.
And that's where like lots of that literature comes in, and lots of the experiences of these practitioners and their ability to help with certain cases like a POI. That's a new one for you, Jeremy, which is premature ovarian insufficiency. So women heading into an earlier menopause, like how do you cope with a situation like that? How do you cope with women who have hypothyroidism and are then heading into the transition? So we'll definitely have like a comprehensive way women can prepare. That's knowing when you're going to start menopause is just the start.
Yeah.
Now you need to actually know what to do with the information.
It does sound like a much better way to go into it, knowing that it's coming. I'm glad you clarified that too, because I really did have this image in my head of this big booming voice, T minus 875 days to menopause.
Yeah,
You
not
know
like
what I
that.
mean?
Not like that.
Here it comes. It's coming. Are you ready?
No.
This has been a Shut Up production.
Shut up!